Greetings. I am Pastor Harris, and welcome to this edition of Understanding with Pastor Harris. If you're joining me for the first time, I encourage you after watching today's video, if you'll go back and start at video number 20. Each of our studies in understanding are building blocks, and these building blocks in this series begin with video number 20, which leads us to today's discussion on attitude, your faith, and how you will endure. But welcome to Understanding with Pastor Harris. I'd like to tell you a true story. It's about an Olympic race that took place many years ago. In this race that I'm talking about, it was a marathon race. It was for many, many miles, and only the best runners from around the world were in this race. During the race, one of the participants fell ill. Something happened to him, and you could see it, for it was during the time we had television coverage and there were cameras everywhere. It was recorded how this young racer was in so much distress, he could barely walk at times. But the thing was, he would not stop. I won't tell you the whole story in its details, but I'll tell you the major parts that we need to understand about this race. The young man's persistence and determination never allowed him to stop running. During the race, even after the leading participant had won the race, the people sitting in the stadium could see on the huge screens what was happening with this young man who had fallen ill. He would stop at times, he would drop to his knees, but he did everything he could to get up and continue the race. Well, when he finally reached the stadium, the race had been over for hours, but many of the people who were in the stadium watching it had refused to leave until the young man came. And as he entered into the stadium, they stood on their feet and applauded him before he crossed the finish line. His father ran down and put his arms around him and helped him to go on and cross the finish line. He finished the race. He finished the race. You see, we're in a race here on this world, and it's all about sin and the condition that it has brought on mankind. But we have someone like the young man did to help us cross the line. We have our Father, God, who will see to it that if we have the right determination, the right attitude, the right heart set, that we will finish the race. It makes no difference how long it takes. We will finish the race, but we must have the right attitude. We've talked about how much God loves us. We've talked about how he will forgive us and redeem us no matter what we have done. We talked about how he still loves us and he never changes. We've talked about repentance. We've talked about the many thousand promises that he's made to all of us in his wonderful word, the Bible. And all of those stand true because as God is faithful for what he says. But we have a part to play. And that is, we must want to and have the desire to stay in this race with God. And he will help us cross the finish line. Let me tell you what the Bible says about this. James, the first chapter in verse 12 states, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast." That means determined, who keeps going under trials and tribulations. For when he has stood the test, that means stayed in it, he will receive the crown of life which God has promised to those who love him. I continue to show you that God loves us, and all he asks for us in return is to love him. And it takes a while to get to it. Many of us love God in some form. But God wants us to truly love him to the point that we have faith in him. And no matter what comes in our lives, we have the determination to stick with him and to see it through. Romans the 12th chapter, verse 12 also says, rejoice in hope. Hope means faith, the coming future. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in prayer. That's what I've been telling you about having a relationship with God. When we pray with God, we talk to him and he talks back to us. But the most important thing is he listens and he hears every prayer. We'll talk about that later. But in the meantime, we must have the desire to want to win. There's another story about a very famous race, and it was a race between a rabbit and a turtle. You've probably heard of that story sometime in your childhood, as the rabbit, who was one of the fastest little creatures around, and the turtle, who was the slowest one. Now, this is the point we want you to understand. The attitude of the turtle. Don't you think that the turtle knew that the rabbit was faster than he is? Don't you think that the turtle knew that he was the slowest one? Don't you think that the turtle understood that the probability that he would win was very low? But he wanted to race anyway. And when he got in the race and saw the rabbit just stream away from him, just run away from him to the point that he couldn't see him anymore, the turtle did not quit. That was his attitude and the faith and the hope to stay in the race that he might win. Well, we know the end of that story. The turtle won. And that's because of the other word I shared with you, endurance. When you've got the right attitude, and when you've got determination, and when you have the faith and trust in God, that no matter what, and no matter your condition, and no matter your abilities, God is going to see you through. You will succeed no matter what it is. Now, one of the problems we have is that many times we look at people who are around us. Some of you are just beginning to want to love God and participate with him. Some of you have been worshiping and having a relationship with God for many years. And so we must be careful not to look at other people and their abilities and the time it takes them to do things and compare it with ourselves. We're all individuals, but God loves us all. And if we will just have the right attitude to stay in the race, to continue to stick with him, to trust him, he will see us through. The only reason we may have to watch others around us is to gain encouragement and motivation to stick it out and stay in it until God brings us through, like he has done to so many others. But don't let evil put you down. Don't let it make you think that there's no hope for you trying. Did the turtle not have hope to have even tried to run the rabbit? Did he not have some awesome faith to continue to stay in? Yes, he did. And you can too. Because like the Olympic race, you have a Father who will see you across the finish line. He loves you no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter where you've come from, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're doing now. He may not love what you're doing, but he loves you. And he will offer you every opportunity that he offers anybody else to have a good relationship with him so that you can succeed in all that you want to do. Last week I told you he's made over 6,000 promises from his holy word, the Bible. Thousands, and they're all for you. There's no limitation on it. And the Bible says that God must honor his word. Remember, 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, and verse 9 states this: the Lord is not slow to fulfill his promises, as some count slowness. You see, God has wisdom, great wisdom. He knows what's good for us, he knows what's bad for us, and he knows when it's the right time to give us what we need. So it says, the Lord is not slow to fulfill his promises, as some count slowness, but is patient. He is towards you, not wishing that any should perish. That means not succeed your goal, but all should reach repentance. Repentance, I explained to you, if you're going in the wrong direction, you'll never make your goal. God is there to help you repent from any bad decisions that you've made in your life. Isaiah, the 40th chapter, verse 31 tells you this: but they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and never faint. That's what God will do for you. So Colossians, the 3rd chapter, verse 23 says, so whatever you do, work heartedly. Stay at it. Don't give up. God is on your side, and he will help you to cross any finish line that you need in your life. He loves you. He loves you. I can't say it too many times. No matter who you are, God loves you. Stay in the race. Have the right attitude and determination. He will give you the rest. God bless you. See you the next time on Understanding with Pastor Harris.